So here we're looking at the Apple i5s clone. Now, which one of these two is the clone? I mean, they look so similar. If we look at the sides here, you tell me, which one's the original and which one is fake? They look identical. Can you see a difference? I can't see a difference. Okay, here you might notice a difference. The headphone sockets are a little different. You're getting a lightning port on both. The clone could have opted for USB, but they didn't. They went with a lightning, a fake lightning. Let's look at the back side here. Now we've found actually that one sure way that you can differentiate between the two. And yeah, they do have exactly the same finish on the back here. Just our lighting maybe is making this guy look a bit different. But one surefire way you can tell, I'll just switch them around for a moment, is that here, this guy is the clone. And the reason I know that is because the Apple logo is slightly raised. It's kind of like a sticker that's been put on the back there. Now, if I'm looking at this guy, the original Apple, that's etched on there. You can feel that that's maybe, yeah, it's a different feeling, but there's nothing been stuck on the back. Here you've got on this guy we have an 8 megapixel camera, and they look very, very similar. They are the same. Although in our testing in real life, actually they produce very different kind of photos. We'll get to that later, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we're talking identical in every way possible. Oh, just turn this guy on. Right, so inside what you're getting, well, here on the clone, again, let me just check. No, that's not the clone. This is the clone. Here on the clone, you're not getting, of course, an Apple A4 chip. Instead, you're getting a MediaTek MT6577. What else is different? Well, on the Apple, you're getting iOS. This guy is running MediaTek with Android. And it's not Android 4.2 or 4.4. We're back on Android 4.0. So they've managed to basically create an entire Android skin that goes over the Android OS. So basically, it's an iOS 7 Android skin, sits right on top, and it performs and acts exactly the way you would expect an iPhone to perform. So if you look at the icons here, the only real difference at the bottom is that instead of Safari, the clone is calling itself a browser. So at least they're being quite honest there. But yeah, you're getting all kinds. You get your regular kind of apps and all of the icons. If we compare, say, this camera icon to the camera icon, where is it? Right here, you can see that they're identical. So they've really worked very hard to try and convince you that you're actually inside iOS 7. What about the displays? Okay, if we compare these two displays, let's put them side by side and do a viewing angles. Not bad. Brightness, you got to say that, of course, the Apple is brighter. And of course, it's a much higher pixel resolution. If you get right in there, you can see the pixel resolution is different. There's definitely more clarity and a sharper picture, of course, on the original from Apple. That's because it's a 640 by 1136 pixel display, and over here on the clone, we're only getting 480 by 854, which is giving you a PPI of 240 pixels per inch, but over here we're getting a much denser 326 pixels per inch. That's, we know how impressive these screens are. Apple devices are kind of corner the market on these fantastic screens. It is multi-touch, so yeah, in gameplay we've tried with several different games, and the games play reasonably well. Actually, the MediaTek chip, in benchmarks, it's not going to do anything well as the Apple. It's probably half or less even than half the performance in benchmarks. But in terms of opening apps up, here's the Play Store. Of course, you don't get the Play Store in the Apple. Let's have a look at the weather. Yeah, everything kind of loads, quite slick. There are transitions that look reasonably good. Look at the camera app. Compare these two camera apps. You can see they've tried to produce an identical UI. Although, this bit here is pretty much fake. Yeah, you see? It's not doing anything. So some parts of it are completely fake. I mean, some things are just missing as well. So you're not getting any like fingerprint reader or anything like that. But I think in terms, if we just go back to the display, I think actually the display on here is not a deal breaker. I'm actually reasonably impressed. For a $200 phone, this display is bright enough, it's clear enough. We can see, let's have a look at some of our photos that we've been taking. Here's a few photos. Oh, here's a desk in our office. It's pretty messy. Oh, and it's not changing. It's not rotating, which is a bit of a shame. But actually, we found the camera. The camera. I mean, they're telling us it's an 8-megapixel camera, but to be honest with you, it's pretty hopeless unless you have studio quality lighting or really good. You know, you're lucky it's a bright sunny day. Then okay, you can take some decent pictures. But compared to the camera you're getting on the original, night and day, very, very different. I would definitely say that the camera is not one of its strong points. That would be something I would say for sure. But as I said, the CPU actually does reasonably well. The display is good. Charging, yeah. So let's have a quick look at the box. In the box, this is the box it came in. It's very much a fake version of what Apple's given you. And the packaging is completely inferior. We've already been at this, so it's a little bit messy. But I'll just show you the charger. Here's the charger that they're giving you. And it feels much lighter. I mean, all of this certification on here is completely rubbish. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying that it's going to explode or cause you any serious harm or anything, but I don't know. It also, we found that the device didn't actually like charging off other devices. I tried charging it off an iMac and it wasn't happy. A MacBook Air also. And even with this guy, it seems to take longer than expected to charge. So I think what we can say is, overall, you're getting a much cheaper battery. The battery is reported to be a 1,500 milliamp hour, but simply put, it isn't. I don't know what to tell you. The Apple one, of course, is giving you 1,500 milliamp hour, and it's, of course, the A4 chip is really, really well honed and well configured so that you're getting absolutely, great battery life out of this guy. Whereas over here, I would definitely say that battery life is a fairly major issue. Let's have a quick look at notifications. Okay, so it's very different. Oh, wait. So you're getting something which is, it's kind of similar to what you would expect on Android. So they haven't really replicated everything that you're getting with iOS 7. In fact, some of the widgets and stuff are very much, well, not widgets, you don't get widgets on Apple, of course, but we found some of the apps kind of more resemble iOS 6, haven't been quite updated to iOS 7. Let's have a quick look at settings here just to compare. Where do we have settings? Here we go. So you can kind of, it's similar. This is more iOS 6 than this one, which is iOS 7. So yeah, it's similar. You can see that the icons have been ripped, but on iOS 7, it's a thinner font. It's a little bit different. The font over here is thicker. So yeah, a great deal of attention to detail. It's almost there, but it's just not quite there. You may have also noticed that they've added a quick launch. Why? I don't know, because Apple's not giving you a quick launcher. So let's just go home. Yeah, what's with that? So there are a few puzzling things, but hey, $200. This is a $200 phone. This is closer to $800. Yeah, let's just think about that for a minute. You could buy 4 of these for one of these. I think that's massive. Okay, the battery's not quite right, but the software is slick. The camera's not great, but overall the build quality is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm certainly no Apple fan, and I've never been a fan of these devices. But what would interest me is if I could get this guy, and I want the Android buttons. I want all 3 buttons along the bottom here. And I would also want maybe Cyanogen. I don't want iOS. I mean, you're not getting the benefits of iOS on this Android phone, and you're not getting iTunes. You're not getting the benefit of the Apple ecosystem either. So I guess you're getting the worst of both worlds. I really like the hardware. So yeah, just give this to me with a vanilla Android. I mean, I'm saying Cyanogen mod just because it's one of my favorites. With all the Android buttons, we could do hardware buttons embedded here, so that at a glance, you would be looking at an iPhone S with the champagne gold, but turn it on and you get Cyanogen. That would be cool. Anyway, this is Stuart Haston from Mobile Geeks, and thank you for taking a look with us at this clone of the iPhone 5S.